Looking for the best PS5 games under $20 in 2026 that are actually worth your time? Here are 25 titles you can grab today without spending a full price tag. Starting off at number 1 is Hades, the roguelike dungeon crawler from Supergiant Games that turned a single underworld escape attempt into one of the most replayable action games on PS5. Every run mixes new weapons, gods, and boons, and the story quietly grows the more times you die and try again. The art direction and voice acting still hold up years later, making it one of the smartest budget picks on this whole list. Second up is Stray, a game where you play as a stray cat wandering a neon-soaked cybercity full of robots. The atmosphere carries most of the experience, with tight alleyways, rooftop jumps, and puzzle solving that never overstays its welcome. It's a short adventure, usually finished in one sitting, but the mood and setting make it memorable. For under $20, it delivers a genuinely unique few hours on PS5. Number 3 on this countdown is It Takes Two, a two-player-only adventure built entirely around cooperative puzzle solving and constantly shifting mechanics. Every chapter throws a brand new gameplay idea at you and your partner, from platforming to shooting to vehicle sections. It won Game of the Year for a reason, and it remains one of the best couch co-op experiences on PS5, especially now that it regularly drops well under budget pricing. At number 4 is A Plague Tale Requiem, a cinematic survival adventure following siblings Amicia and Hugo through plague-ridden medieval France. Massive rat swarms, stealth sections, and a genuinely emotional story make this one hit far above its budget price point. The visuals are some of the best looking on PS5, and the pacing keeps tension high without ever feeling repetitive. It's a great pick for anyone who wants a story-driven game. Fifth on the list is the 2018 God of War, which reintroduced Kratos as a father raising his son Atreus in the world of Norse mythology. The single-shot camera, weighty combat, and emotional writing set a new bar for the series, and for action games overall. Years after release, it still looks and plays incredibly well on PS5, and it consistently ranks as one of the best value purchases on the PlayStation Store. Number 6 is Horizon Zero Dawn, an open-world adventure starring Aloy as she hunts massive robotic creatures across a lush post-apocalyptic Earth. The bow combat feels tactical and rewarding. The world design encourages exploration, and the story slowly reveals a fascinating mystery about humanity's past. With dozens of hours of content and frequent discounts, this remains one of the strongest open-world deals available for PS5 owners right now. At 7, we have Days Gone, an underrated zombie survival game set in the Pacific Northwest, starring bounty hunter Deacon St. John. Massive hordes of infected, a detailed motorcycle system, and a slow burn story make this one worth revisiting if you skipped it originally. It got a rough launch reputation, but the game aged well and now sits as one of the best budget open world picks on PS5. Number 8 brings us to Bloodborne, From Software's gothic horror action game that many still consider one of the best PlayStation exclusives ever made. Fast, aggressive combat replaces the shield-heavy approach of other Souls games, and the Victorian horror setting is dripping with atmosphere. It's demanding and unforgiving, but incredibly rewarding once it clicks. For the price, it's one of the most respected titles on this entire list. Ninth on this countdown is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, a massive open-world RPG following monster hunter Geralt of Rivia through a war-torn fantasy continent. The free next-gen update brought improved visuals and performance to PS5, and the sheer amount of quest content here is staggering. Between the base story, 2 expansions, and side content, this is easily one of the biggest value purchases you can make under $20. At number 10 is Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, an open-world stealth action game praised for its flexible mission design and deep systems. You can approach nearly every objective however you want, whether that's full stealth, loud combat, or creative gadget use. The mechanics still feel ahead of their time, and the mission-based structure makes it easy to pick up for short sessions or long playthroughs. 11th is Persona 5 Royal, an expanded version of the beloved RPG that follows a group of stylish high school students moonlighting as supernatural thieves. Turn-based combat mixes with social simulation, letting you build relationships between dungeon crawling sessions. The presentation is some of the sharpest in gaming, with a jazzy soundtrack and striking visual style. It's a long game, but every hour feels intentional and polished. Number 12 on the list is Hollow Knight, a hand-drawn Metroidvania set in the ruined insect kingdom of Hallownest. Exploration rewards curiosity, combat demands precision, and the atmosphere stays hauntingly beautiful throughout. It's often cited as one of the best games in its genre, and the amount of content packed into its budget price tag is honestly hard to beat on PS5 right now. At 13 is Dead Cells, a roguelite Metroidvania where death is just another part of learning the map and building a stronger run. Combat feels fast and satisfying, weapon variety keeps things fresh, and permanent unlocks give every attempt a sense of progress. Frequent free updates have kept the community active for years, making this one of the most replayable action games available under $20 on PS5. 14th on this countdown is Celeste, a precision platformer about a young woman named Madeline climbing a mysterious mountain while confronting her own anxiety. The platforming is tight and demanding, but always fair, and the story handles mental health with real sincerity. Short chapters make it easy to play in bursts, and the pixel art style still looks charming years after its original release. Number 15 is the Resident Evil 2 Remake, a survival horror reimagining that turns Raccoon City into one of the tensest settings in modern gaming. Limited resources, smart enemy design, and genuinely scary atmosphere make this one of the best horror experiences on PS5. 2 playable characters and multiple scenarios add real replay value, and it remains one of Capcom's most acclaimed remakes to date. At 16 is the Resident Evil 3 Remake, a faster-paced follow-up that pits Jill Valentine against the relentless Nemesis. It leans more into action than its predecessor, with tighter pacing and dramatic set pieces throughout. While shorter than other entries, the intensity rarely lets up, and paired with its low price point, it's an easy recommendation for horror fans wanting a quick but memorable playthrough. 17th on the list is Nioh, a brutal Souls-like action RPG set in a supernatural version of feudal Japan. Deep combat systems built around multiple stances and weapon types give it real depth for players who love mastering mechanics. The difficulty is steep, but the loot-driven progression keeps pulling you forward. It's a demanding game, but one of the most respected entries in its genre. Number 18 is Nioh 2, an even more refined follow-up with expanded character creation and combat options. Yokai powers, weapon variety, and mission-based structure give this one incredible replay value for its price. It rewards patience and experimentation, and longtime fans often consider it an improvement over the original in nearly every way. For Souls-like fans on PS5, this is a must-own title. At 19 is Mortal Kombat 11, a brutal and technically deep fighting game featuring an enormous roster of fan-favorite characters. The story mode is surprisingly cinematic, the fatalities are as over-the-top as ever, and the online scene remains active years after launch. Whether you're playing casually or diving into competitive matches, it's one of the most complete fighting game packages under $20 right now. Number 20 on this countdown is Sifu, a martial arts action game where every death ages your character, changing how fights play out over time. The combat is punishing but incredibly satisfying once techniques click, and the aging mechanic adds real tension to every encounter. It's a shorter, tightly focused game, but the replay value for mastering its systems makes it worth far more than its price tag. 21st is Dishonored 2, a stealth action game that lets you choose between 2 playable characters, each with unique supernatural abilities. Level design here is exceptional, with multiple paths through nearly every mission, depending on your playstyle. Whether you go full stealth or embrace chaos, the game reacts to your choices in meaningful ways, making it one of the most underrated stealth titles on PS5. At 22 is Divinity Original Sin 2, a deep, turn-based RPG praised for its reactive storytelling and flexible party-building systems. Nearly everything in the world can be interacted with, and combat encourages creative use of terrain and elements. It's a massive time investment, but few RPGs offer this much freedom, making it one of the best value picks for genre fans on this entire list. Number 23 is Control, a supernatural action game set inside the shifting Federal Bureau of Control building. telekinetic powers, destructible environments, and a genuinely strange story give this one a distinct identity among PS5 titles. The gunplay feels weighty and satisfying, and the environmental storytelling rewards players who like piecing together lore. It's a stylish, atmospheric pick that still holds up well today. At 24 is Death Stranding, a divisive but ambitious game from Hideo Kojima, built around delivery, connection, and traversing a fractured America. It moves slower than most action games, focusing instead on planning routes and managing cargo across difficult terrain. The story is strange and layered, and the online elements add a surprising sense of community. It's not for everyone, but it's unforgettable for the right player. Closing out the list at 25 is Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, an open-world samurai adventure set during the Mongol invasion of Japan. Sweeping visuals, satisfying sword combat, and a strong focus on atmosphere make this one of the most cinematic experiences on PS5. With added content included in the director's cut, it remains one of the best full-priced originals, now regularly available for a fraction of its cost.